Mark at the Wicked Edge Expert Corner group on this Saturday before Easter Sunday, running around the rabbit hole. And I'm thinking, I'm trying to make beginner sharpening videos to invite you guys that maybe come across my Wicked Edge channel. You see Wicked Edge Expert Corner group, and oh, that's far beyond anything I'm doing. Well, I started where I started, and I picked up whetstones, exploring other options. And I'm inviting you to watch what I do, because it's not any different. It's just maybe more ritualistic, because you have to mist it and you think it's more complicated. And maybe it is, and maybe it's not. It's just the rabbit hole. But at the same time, as a beginner, if you want to see what it's about, let me share with you what we're doing here. I have Shapton glass stones. These are original Shapton glass before they mounted them on glass. These, I don't know where. This goes back, I'm talking maybe 2010. I don't know when they came out. And when the name Shapton for the white stones got the glass, because they originally were a white whetstone without glass. Then the glass laminate came later because they cracked. In between, they made them double thickness to deal with the breaking. So they had a solid white stone, and then they had a thick solid white stone, and then they had the glass on them. And what happened was, we were able to use the thick solid white ones. Tom Agenda Industries was cutting them. I don't know if other people were, but the stones that I was able to get were cut by him. And I got them through some Wicked Edge dealers like Bob Nash at Aldewan Supply and Agenda directly. And we mounted them, and we were using them on Wicked Edge paddles, because these things aren't available. Just like they're not available for TS Prof and Edge Pro and all that. They get the stones and cut them and mount them and make them available. So Agenda made them available first through Wicked Edge, and then later direct, and still now he has whetstones for Wicked Edge available at agendaindustries.com. These happen to be stones I mounted, but they're stones that he cut. This one is still, I've never used it. It's a 320 grit. On this side is the 500 that I use. I'm not going to get into lapping today. Whetstones need to be lapped at times to maintain them. I have put a straight edge on here and held it up to the light to see the gap. If there is a gap of light, if they need to be maintained. I believe in maintaining your stones frequently. Then you remove the little bit of stone to keep them flat, instead of waiting till you dish and then you remove a lot. So the more you work on them when you're lapping, the more time you have to screw up the level. So it's better to do it quicker, more frequently, I think, an interjection. So these stones we work on the same way. Now, because I'm working with a relatively short vise next to this stone, the stable riser elevates it, so now the stone resting down at the bottom is about even with the knife line. So it makes for very efficient sharpening. So that is the reason for the stabilizer, and plus what it allowed, the reason for Wicked Edge using the riser under the Wicked Edge 100 vise to make it into the Wicked Edge 120 model was for this, but at the same time, to maintain that relationship with the angle, they expanded the square bar, made it longer to spread out the delineations. So now to get the same angle, you're further apart because the knife edge is taller, because you raised it to make the stones more efficient. It all works together. So we're set. We're ready to sharpen. We're going to set our angle at, and I do for the beginner so you understand, for consistency. I have a stone stop underneath here, and I'm using it to set the center line at the knife edge right over the vise. And because I'm using whetstones that are non-magnetic, and because they wear and they lap, so the thickness over time changes, I'm using this non-magnetic stone adapter that Doug and I came up with that clips on like that, and it holds that piece of steel on there so I can continue to work with my zeroed out cube. I'm sitting back to, I just turned it on and it's reading 0.01. It started at 0.00, went to 0.02, 0.01. So my point there is that I zeroed it out prior to using it days ago, and nothing has moved here. It kept it zero when I repowered it on. Right now it's saying 16.6 degrees, so I will look to gross adjust this closer. I don't know where. I don't know. I don't know that 14 degrees is what I would want to start with. I think that I would rather start with 15 degrees and see where that damage of that edge comes around to at 15, and I can always go to 14, which is a segue to another conversation. For both the beginner and the more advanced thinking sharpener. So yeah, let me lock this up, and so y'all understand that I made this group for a discussion group, and I want to be able to do what I'm doing, sharpen and talk and tell you, and that's what I'm going to do, because I want to give you lessons of my sharpening logic, wisdom, whatever, theory, impression, opinion, whether it means anything or not. I would rather start a little wider. Any knife. I start wide to find it, to find the sweet spot and walk it down. Better than starting. It's not darts. You're not trying to hit the middle. We're trying to find the middle. So if we always start at the outside and work in, you know where you're starting from and where you're working into. So I start wide and work in. So if I'm going to sharpen this knife, even though it measured at 14 degrees, the way it has that damage, maybe if I start wider, I can even it out, and as I see the progress, I can dial it down and work it in instead of working in tight, and then I'm doing not all my grinding, but some of my grinding is above and some is below. I'd rather start at the top and work down and see the progress in a controlled fashion. That's the bottom line. Start at the top and work down so I can, like this instead of just in the middle, because if I start in the middle, some places on the edge I might be below, some places above. I want to start above and come down on it. So I'm just taking off what needs to be taken off until I get to what is restorable, and then I make it match up. So that's why I try to sharpen in a dial down, dial in, from obtuse to the angle of my aim, the angle that I'm aiming to see if I can use. That has nothing to do with the question or the argument of what angle is actually appropriate for this VG10 steel $140, $150 knife that has a range of hardness depending upon who hardened it. So lots of questions that we explore here. So back to this, 500, why 500? 500 is a good starting point to sharpen this steel. We're not going to, although on another day, put a 500 diamond. I don't think I have anything in a 500 side by side with the 500 whetstone to see, but we're going to get to look at the photographs and explore it to compare them as we sharpen. I'm going to have to stop here because I didn't set this to the 500 and I started and I lost my track. I was going to set the angle and I segued into the angle. I'm at 1544 and I locked it up. Before I was talking about your brackets. With the adjusters and your aluminum brackets and the lock knobs, everything, now you're working with metal, it's not as important that you're not going to strip out the metal. You can strip out the plastic. I'm backing it off to get closer, to get the adjuster closer to the bracket, evening out that space like I explained working with the adjuster in a previous YouTube video I made just the other day. And I balanced it out. Now I'm going to go back to looking to get to 15 degrees by sliding that, and I'm at 1495, 1496. I should probably call it quits and lock it up. And it settled at 1499. Get on. Okay, so then we take this off. And our angle is set for everything. We will set the stone stops before we start. We'll put an upper stop here. I wanted to say that even though we make at the Expert Corner Group stone stops, and I have, to prove the point, all these stone stops here, because of the height of this, I don't use a big stone stop underneath. I'm using the Wicked Edge style O-rings, so it will allow me to get the stone as low as I can because the knife is pretty tall. You know, I use what's functional. I don't care if you use my stops or whatever you want to use. These are easy to use because they're easy to set. We don't want to drop below at the center. We don't want the top to drop below the stone. And it does that resting down here. So we set this side. I'm going to stop the video and change that. And we're going to come back. We'll set up the other side and keep talking as we work our way towards finally wetting a stone. Thanks.